Invest Kerala Global Summit 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all on this session on empowering the future of automated technology innovation. Once again, thanking you all for your presence here. Without any further ado, I would like to invite all the dignitaries involved during this session. Starting with, it is my privilege to invite Mr. Raghavendra Kulkarni, Managing Director, Industry X Software Defined Vehicles Advanced Technology Center, Accenture. Sir, please. I request sir to please come on the dais. With great privilege, once again, I invite Mr. Raghavendra R. Kulkarni on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for him. Mr. Raghavendra leads Accenture's offering strategy, business, and capability for software-defined vehicles. He is responsible to develop, execute the vision and growth strategy of software-defined vehicle and electrification business. Nearly over 20 years of proven record for consistently incubating and transforming new business ventures in the new automotive domain with meticulous strategy development to execution. Thank you, sir, for your presence here. So please. Next up, I would like to invite Mr. Ajay Jain, Head of India Design Studio, Tata Motors. Ajay Jain, alumni of Art Center Europe with a career over 2 decades across design studios of American, European and Asian brands. Ajay spent his first decade of his career owning the trade craft and approach to design in Europe, followed by a decade in China. So please, ladies and gentlemen, once again, a round of applause for Mr. Ajay Jain. Following him, I am extremely privileged to invite Jijimon Chandran, founder and CEO of SEA Technologies. Jijimon Chandran is the founder and CEO, a global leader in automotive software and RD headquarters in Technopark, Thiruvananthapuram. With over 25 years of experience in technology, business development, and strategic management, he has transformed his venture into a trusted partner for global automakers. Once again, a round of applause for Jijimon Chandran. Thank you, sir. Moving on, I invite Mr. Shankar Venugopal, Vice President, Mahindra and Mahindra. Dr. Shankar Venugopal is a Vice President at Mahindra and Mahindra. He leads the technology, innovation and intellectual property portfolio for Mahindra's automotive and farm businesses. He is the Dean of Mahindra Technical Academy. Sir, you're welcome. Last but not the least, I invite Mr. Sachin Goel, Head Central Quality, Ashoka Leyland. Sachin Goel is the head of Central Quality Function at Ashoka Leyland, all businesses, and is a part of its senior leadership team. Sachin is a leading transformation by business and executing strategies to improve customer satisfaction by world-class product quality. Thank you, sir, and you're welcomed. Ladies and gentlemen, one round of applause for all the dignitaries on the dais today. Without any further ado, let's move on to the opening remarks of our session on powering the future automotive technology innovation. I would like to invite Mr. Raghavendra Kulkarni for his opening remarks. Sir, please.
Thank you everybody. I think as much as you are eager to listen to this, so am I eager to moderate this. So very happy that you have come here. One of the key things that you need to understand is there's a tectonic shift that automotive industry is actually facing into it. What does it mean is that when you look at 150 years where the IC engines were invented probably in the Europe or probably been manufactured in North America, and probably, if at all we had the parity to even buy, those vehicles were being sold. But today what's happening within the industry is that, automotive per se is getting shifted. One is the market is shifting towards the east. The second one is the entire product tech, which we call as the product tech stack, is becoming more digital. And the third one is the entire world wants to be more sustainable. So for us as Indians, we need to be very proud that, we have been given a chance to see whether we can impact this change. And the reason that I say we have to impact this change is because we have two major strengths. One is the strength of the market, which is East, and the second is the immense demographic dividend that we have, which are digital natives. So these digital natives are going to do three things according to me. One is they are going to create the human element in the car. So in the panel that you're going to see here is, we are going to discuss about what does this human element means into it. The human element means to say that the car is going to wish you a happy birthday. The car is going to tell you Happy New Year. The car is going to change the color inside if you have a child, whether it's a girl child with pink or a boy child with a blue. The car is going to brake automatically. The car is going to, connect to whatever world that you want to be. So the first and the fundamental thing that's happening in this automotive sector is that, we are bringing a lot of human element and how you and me as digital natives are going to impact. And the jargons that we talk about is the software-defined vehicle. The second fundamental thing is, we want this car to be part of our ecosystem, which means to say it's no more that the car is going to pollute. In the sense, we want to be quite cognizant of the fact that it's not just the powertrains, it's about bringing a sustainable mobility. Here we are going to talk about, what are the technologies that we as Indians, we as people from Kerala are going to innovate. Because here in the God's own country, you do not really want to invent or bring a vehicle which is going to disrupt it. The second element, what we see is that, there is tremendous disruption that is happening here in the sense that mobility itself is being changed, whether it is from IC engine to electrical vehicles. This is the second element that we are going to discuss about. And the third fundamental element is what we talk about, the ecosystem. In the sense, end of the day, the car is going to move from A to B. How is that you're going to create an ecosystem where your entire journey, it's not the destination, the journey is becoming more meaningful for you. So these are the three elements, and for us, it's a great opportunity, and you have a great thought capital today. We have top leaders coming in from, Mahindra, Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, who have been the pioneers into it. And I come from Accenture, where we have deep consulting capabilities, where we have worked with a lot of CXOs to transform and reinvent the enterprise. Last but not the least, you already have a North Star CEO and a founder who's sitting here. You have tremendous reason to learn from him because he's a very proud entrepreneur where he wants to see that, Kerala's work gets into the global space. So I invite you to be quite participating. These are the three contours where we are talking about the human element in the car, making the car more part of the ecosystem. Third is how do you build the journey from A to B quite reliable. And for you to take away, there will be three things that you're going to talk about. Can you be that talent magnet? Can you excite the OEMs to bring to you? Because today when we talk to OEMs, they say, we will go where the talent is. Do you have that as a talent magnet? Second, are you creating an industry magnet? It's about for your bureaucrats as well as, the investment that your CM talked about. Can you really create that? And finally, we'll talk about technology. With this opening remarks, I hand it over to Ajay because he has a keynote presentation onto it.
Thank you so much, Raghavendra. And of course, to the Honorable Minister of Industries, Law and Coir of Government of Kerala, Mr. P. Balaji, P. Rajiv, who has invited me here with a very clear understanding of, with a very clear understanding of wanting to bring design to Kerala. And before we talk about what design, it's not about creating just design as an ecosystem which is not clearly understood. So to bring this understanding of design in India, if I could just, So see, today the words design and innovation are used extensively. And they are used, but mostly they are misused and maybe misunderstood. The backbone of design and innovation cannot happen unless we have at the core, we build a strong research and development arm. Research and development is the big iceberg, and innovation and design are the consequences of that. And this is actually a very important aspect that we seem to ignore, because maybe innovation appears as something that's going to give instant profit, instant returns. Design is something that's very glamorous. It's something that we relate to. It's something that we as customers identify very often. So this ends up being a big misunderstanding in how we perceive the roles of design, innovation, and research and development. And each of these are very important, and we have to build the competence and the knowledge and the ecosystem for all of them to flourish, but initially by understanding what each of these mean, right? So, is it not? Yeah? Yeah, please. Do you have a clicker also? You have a So, thank you. So, I like to, I'm being a designer myself, I like to talk with visuals, with descriptions of where we are. And I'm just using Tata Motors as an example because it's where I work currently, but it's also very much the, okay? So you see the difference between an engineer and a designer. An engineer would have known how to operate things, whereas a designer, I just looked at the arrow. So, okay, so let me, is there a lag? Is this first lag? Okay, so at Tata Motors Design, we have 3 studios. And it is really a poignant part that although the Pune studio was probably established in the 1980s, most of the cars have still been designed outside India, in Italy and the UK. Now, why is that? It's because we have, as a country, we have built a lot of engineering and colleges for STEM subjects, but we have not completely understood design, and therefore, in a complex product like the automobile, the design still happens pretty much outside India. So, give you the example, there is, in the industrial development, through the eyes of design, there are 4 stages of development. Yeah, the first stage of development is industrialization, setting up factories, setting up manufacturing to scale. At this point of time, any company, whether it is a Tata or you look at even companies in Japan and Korea who are ahead of us today, have started by repurposing tools, repurposing dies, repurposing the designs from other places, and manufacturing. The core is to start manufacturing, to manufacture at a scale, at a size. Once you are able to manufacture vehicles, you have learned how to do this, then your focus goes into other things like, can I have another record or something? Okay, then you start, what happens is you start expanding your range. You learn to make one product quickly and fast. Then you start making multiple products and you start expanding range. You start having multiple lines and assemblies. And even then, at this stage, what you see with what happened with Tata Motors is also what happened with Toyota when they were doing Lexus around the same time. That imitation is okay. Imitation is something that is part of the process. Everybody learns through imitation, and like Tata Motors, like Lexus, people at that time were copying what Mercedes-Benz was doing. It was the pinnacle of design. And you get your credibility because your focus is not on design or a brand. It is on building credibility in manufacturing, in quality, in reliability, in repetition of manufacturing, and so on. So design is not even a factor that comes into consideration. The third step is then when the company starts building their own kind of unique products, diversifying what we call the portfolio of products, and really looking at a design that could be a differentiator. Again, at this point of time in any company's history, like in the case of Tata Motors, design becomes a service that you go and you get from an outside consultancy. In the past, it's been pretty much through one country, one ecosystem in Italy that has given design services to almost all the Asian, Japanese, Koreans, the Chinese, and now the Indians. The service of design came from one city in Italy called Torino. So it was the same for us. And then what happens is once you realize that design needs to be a strategic differentiator because your manufacturing, your quality, your repetition, your reliability, all of these things have improved, then you move to the next stage of trying to create a unique differentiation through design. And that's when the design ecosystem, your design kind of department becomes an in-house strategic part of your business. Now, to give you an overview, this is roughly our structure of design. And the India studio is still very much responsible for the commercial vehicles because we understand the market. And there is a huge advantage of being an Indian company with your Indian customers, with Indian engineering, manufacturing basis to have design in India. However, going back to my first point, this doesn't necessarily happen because there is also a lot of gaps that we still need to address. And I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I just want to make everybody aware of what are those gaps and what we can start looking at to fill as we go forward if we are really truly want to create a design ecosystem in the country and in Kerala. So if you look at the car industry, the designers are not engineers, they're not artists, we don't call them stylists, they're not marketing people, and they're not really engineers, right? But they bring these functions, they bring all these disciplines together because they are the ones, whatever they're doing is what connects with the customer. So anything that connects with customers or the user experience becomes the function of the design, taking the best of engineering or market research or creativity, art and fashion and bring that all and putting it in a format that is relevant to the customer's expectations. So most importantly for design, as I said, at the fourth stage, you start building a brand. You want to have unique products. You want to create something that is unique from the other companies. And more than anything, we believe that the design, the product, is the brand ambassador. The car is the star, as we say. And you can have any amount of public relations or media or talk about professionalism and advertising campaigns, but if your product is shoddy and your product does not live up to what your brand is talking about, then the brand is not going to get amplified. Therefore, we believe that the first philosophy or first thing that design does is amplify the brand values. Most importantly, the educational system of design does not come from engineering or some of the other academic subjects. There's a lot of craft, there's a lot of artisanal craftwork and handwork that goes into this, that need to be developed, that need to be encouraged, that need to be taught. We actually make full-size cars over and over again till they are reached to point of perfection. And a design studio is not just a very monolithic organization where everybody has the same degree. So this is our design team in Pune. We're all working together on projects, and it is not just a numbers game. It is actually a number of expertise and professional expertise that need to come together. So the first step is always you start with sketching, you start with creation, you start with ideas, you start with exploration of ideas, then you start giving them some form, you start making them, make a little bit prototyping, you give them some shape, you start exploring them. The next step is to then refine those shapes, refine those forms, refine those to a material level and to details in there. And finally, you go into every micromillimeter to make sure that the production is absolutely perfect and it goes into very high quality of fidelity of a product that comes out. Now, all of these is not done by one person. All of these are very, very, very specific tools. They are not just one engineer or one kind of education that can provide these kind of skills at every stage of a development of a program. So even designers are split into other things. We have designers who design shape. We have designers who design the space, because automobiles or vehicles today are moving spaces. And then you have the designers who design surfaces, who design all the surfaces that you touch, you feel, you look at, and what their qualities are. And more today we have the designing of the interactive surfaces, the human-machine interfaces, and all the connection and connectivity. Today we stand at a great crossroad and an opportunity where, as I told you, that in Europe we have 100 years of skill in making models, in making physical prototypes and using craftsmanship. Today, with the coming of using VR tools and AR tools, using AI, we are able to now visualize in full size, in real time, different permutations and combinations of full-size vehicles in a very immersive way. And this allows us to maybe leapfrog what 100 years of physical prototyping of automobiles has been taking place in. We use this quite extensively for vehicles, to look at it, to validate our ideas, because the cost and the time is huge to make. Imagine making a full-size truck and then walking around it and then saying we're unhappy with it and then having to remake it, whereas we can do this digitally and we can go through faster iterations and loops. So there is an element of technology that can really help into the process of what we are designing and how we are going about it. And there is a wonderful synergy between the physical reality and the digital world, where things can be prototyped physically and reviewed digitally, or reviewed physically and prototyped digitally. However, addressing what Raghavendra has said, yeah, skills is number one. What we really need to highlight is people and their abilities and their talents and their knowledge. There's no replacement for a level of skills. I'll go quite quickly into this. Of course, digitization is something that is coming. The digitization and the electrification is leading to other great opportunities for us to create much more bigger platforms for design and vehicles and mobility. There's a very quick diagram of what is the essence of design. There is form, there is feeling, there is function, and at the core of it, we get to experience, or what we call the mobility experience. How much time do you have? Yeah. 5 minutes? Less? No? Okay, so I'll go through this very quickly. So form, of course, is the tip of the iceberg. We all know, we all understand that's the creation of what is generally known as styling, creating cars. We obviously iterate and then refine to get into form. I have a video, but I'm going to skip it. Those of you who are interested, I'm sure you'll find it on YouTube, which is our latest Sierra that we had launched just now at the Delhi Expo. We just, it's okay. I'll go through it quickly. We had just launched in Delhi. What you see here is a digital model. What you see here is a digital prototype, and there's a digital movie, and all this is a complete digital animation that is yet another skill set that exists in a design environment. Function, we all understand function. It's how we interact with things. How we are now more and more designing mobility with electrification and other means to create functionality that is relevant and that makes our use cases and our usability much more convenient. Functionality is, of course, also how we touch the ergonomics and everything else. Huge amount of opportunities here for people to interact with. Feeling, this is a little bit esoteric, a little bit difficult, but let me tell you in a simple way, design is taking plastic, rubber, metal, and converting it into something that has a personality where every one of us here looks at something and says whether they like it or they don't like it. There is a very clear association of a feeling with these objects that we design, even though they may come out of some very hard materials. Last is, of course, this is what creates a unified and a holistic experience. The harmony of form, function, and feeling. And that is where we are headed in terms of design. It is really to try and create a new way of experiencing mobility or drivability that we are really trying to do. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ajay Jain, for the keynote address. Further on, we move on to the panel discussion for the session and is moderated by Mr. Raghavendra Kulkarni. I invite Sir forward to please invite the panelists and introduce them. Sir, the stage is yours.
I can use this?
Yeah.
Hello? I think it's audible, right? Thank you, Ajay. That was quite a fabulous thing. What I learned from him is it's a form, function, and experience, right? Form, functions, and feeling that creates experience. Thank you for a fabulous presentation. So as we head into this panel discussion, as I said, the contour of these panel discussion would be only on 3 elements. One is the technology space, because we as digital natives from India, we want to see how technology can impact. The second one is how you can become a talent magnet, in the sense, every enterprise want to come where the talent is, and then the industry magnet. So my first question would be to Venugopal, in the sense, they have launched a fabulous 2 cars just recently. Can you just speak about what technologies are creating the human element in the car, sir?
Thank you. So you're aware that both these are electric vehicles. So naturally you would guess that it's all based out of batteries and motors and whatnot. If you think a little deeper, maybe you will say that what really makes this car so intelligent and attractive could be all the electronics and the software that goes into that. Possibly a little deeper could be the human angle to the whole thing in terms of how all these technologies converge to create the experience that Ajay talked about, how we can pack all these technologies to really address those pain points that the customers really have when it comes to letting go of their engine-based vehicle and adapting a wholly new electric vehicle where everything is new out there. So how well we can understand the pain points and how we can use technology to exactly address those pain points becomes the basis of design such electric vehicles. It could be the range anxiety, it could be the reducing the time that it takes for charging, a whole bunch of things that the customers would feel happy if you are able to address. I think that's where the real innovation is moving towards. And designing a product for India is very unique with the kind of road conditions and driving patterns that we have here. We need to really have those insights to design the right electric vehicle for Indian markets. But what is good is if you do this right, you can take it to global markets. That's a beautiful opportunity that we have here today. Sure.
Thank you, thank you. So if you look at it, most of us talk about this is for my friend Digimon, because many of you would have used a lot of Android phones. You have been using AI so much, and maybe I would just want Digimon to introduce his company and the way that they are impacting not just the Indian OEMs but also the global OEMs of leveraging Android and AI infotainment. That would be great, Digimon.
Thank you. So as Ajay was mentioning, the interface and the feeling. So we work in the HMI extensively. We work in the Axia Technologies as a company is focusing mostly on the cockpit software and the connectivity and bit on the e-mobility. This is what our focus. And if you look at the evolution of interface or the technologies over the last maybe 3 to 4 decades, starting from a simple radio to a highly complex cockpit is what now the modern cars is equipped with. We work with some of the world's leading car OEMs, German and North American, and we also look forward to work for Indian OEMs as well to utilize our expertise. And what we have observed is every 5 years, the software volume is doubling in the car. So now if you look at nearly hundreds of millions of lines of code is actually going into one particular ECU. If we take cockpit as an example, it has got more than 200 million lines of code, which has two challenges. One is, of course, the time required to develop. And when the complexity increases, how do you make sure the quality as well? So this, to mitigate these risks, OEMs have looked at the options like Android. Android, yeah, Axia Technologies has been working on first generation Android, which goes into which Android 10 is what the first one adopted in the automotive industry. So what we did or what we do currently is like preparing Android or preparing such operating systems to use in automotive or to make make sure that the experience or the interface is seamless and security is also ensured. That's what we do. Thank you.
I think, when you look at a couple of youngsters here, when you look at, what can AI do, and especially in the context of, automotive, many of these automotive OEMs are trying to reinvent themselves. They are saying, I need more digital talent. So when you look at AI and when you look at AI on the edge, you would have heard something called as ADAS, right? So my question again back to Venugopal is that, how is that you are using AI in your cars where you can make the driving more safe, driving more intelligence? Can you just throw lights, how these technologies are making car more intelligent?
Sure. The electric cars are invariably the connected and semi-autonomous cars today. We have between level 2 and level 3 autonomy, so which is possible only with the AI. And primarily two areas we look at. One is to enhance the safety. As we bring in higher levels of autonomy and V2X connectivity, the safety steadily keeps going up because the vehicle is connected with everything else around in the ecosystem. So you are very proactive about how you are managing, how you are navigating in a dense traffic. Everything is well within control because all these things talk to each other. Second is use of AI in the product design itself, because there was a time that we could have had 5 years to build a new product that became 3 years. Now we have just little more than a year to build a whole new product out. That's where AI helps in terms of looking at data and analytics and cutting short the time it takes to take a new technology from lab into a product. That's where we see big use of AI right now.
Got it.
Sure.
So for Mr. Goel, when you are heading the quality, right, and definitely Ashok Leyland has pioneered bringing the best trucks in the Indian roads. What do you see as a play when you talk about being the head of the quality? Like, which are the technologies that you think can get in?
See, while this technology landscape is very interesting, and I think it's a very interesting time for India because the technology landscape is changing very, very fast. And even OEMs, big OEMs are also making sure that they keep their eyes and ear open for all the technologies because we never know whether EVs will take place or hydrogen will go or whether IC engine will continue. Now, one thing which is very important is that no matter what technology we are using, for the end consumer, we all are consumers of various automotive, maybe bikes or cars or commercial vehicle trucks. So certain quality thing is something which it can't be compromised. It cannot be that I'm using a EVs, so I can compromise on the quality. So if you look at, start with the safety, no matter whether we were Asian age, we are using the bullock cart or today we are using the most advanced technology vehicle, the safety is paramount. That no passenger will compromise on that. So automotive companies or any companies have to make sure that they not only meet the regulations, but the product has to be at most safe for the road. The second part is the reliability. So when you start your journey from one place to another place, you want to make sure that you will reach without any hiccups. And if you see today's time, when the vehicles has been used for e-commerce, when you order some article from Amazon or any web portal, he says that the article will reach you by Wednesday 2 p.m. It means that that particular thing may be starting from Delhi and reaching to Kerala, and they have very exactly calculated the time. Now imagine in between the truck broke down. So how many customers will be disappointed? How much entire thing the promises will be broke down? So that's the reason that reliability always play a vital role, but it becomes even more crucial now. So we in Ashok Leyland make sure that any product which is going on from our design, product development, it has been very robustly tested and it should make the customers happy. But design is one part where I think a lot more intervention of quality, simulation and testing has been added. But more than that, if you look at the manufacturing process, which start from supplier manufacturing to the OE manufacturing and finally till delivery. So there are a lot of intervention of technology, as someone mentioned, the artificial intelligence, to make sure that the entire processes should make a reliable product. So that is very important. So remember the olden time when we used to say that, how many defects per vehicle you have. So someone says, sir, last year it was 10 defects per vehicle, now we have 2 defects per vehicle. So I don't think that any company can make that statement now. The zero defect is the basic hygiene. So quality means over and above that thing. So if you see that a huge amount of investment, that's one area where the organizations, especially I talk about Ashok Leyland, investing heavily to make sure that the product which has been produced in our all manufacturing plant, whether you get a product from northern plant, Patnagar, Alwar, or you get a southern plant, Hosur or Chennai, the product should be same, product should be equally reliable, and the customer should not be able to differentiate, and the customer should always get a better proposition.
Thank you.
So I think that's very important. Thank you.
I think, Ajay is pressed on time. Maybe thank you for that. Probably as a token of gift
Thank
or
you, Ajay.
something you want to.
Thank you so much. Really nice meeting you all. Very nice meeting you. See you. Thanks. Bye.
So Ajay, thank you for participation. So this is a token of gift.
Thank you very much.
So we continue with this. Have a safe journey. So maybe we continue and make a more interesting conversation. So recently, when you look at software-defined vehicle and Digimon, you had a fabulous summit in Kerala where you attracted a lot of talent, and you really wanted to see how you can impact. What do you please think about this software-defined vehicle and how this event that you spanned about, and what do you think as an opportunity that you can look for Kerala?
So the one background is like when we go to our customers, especially in the West, one challenge is, yes, we have the talent. Of course, Kerala is known for the best talent, especially if you talk about Trivandrum, there are VSSE, ISRO, and there are many medical research organizations. I mean, even putting the satellites on the moon. or putting the, so this is the mission we do, but this is actually not known to the world. So we thought of like, I mean, this is one of the challenge when we go to the customers, and we thought of like, how do we make sure when, how do we put Kerala into the global map of automotive technology? So when I was also part of CII, I mean, as a zonal chairman, we coined the idea of conducting or making Kerala visible, much visible in the global automotive technology map, and came up with an idea. And then the industries minister welcomed it, and they also joined. And we also have many other companies from Trivandrum, like Nissan Digital, D-Space, Tatalaxy, and many other companies have come together to do the first event of Automotive Technology Summit on SDV topic. This is the background, and the first episode, which we did on February 6th, has been great success. We had nearly 400 delegates attending and giving excellent feedback. We wanted to do it every year with a wider scope. Coming back to the software-defined vehicles, that's what we currently part of for global OEMs like BMW and all. So I mentioned about the software volume getting increased and the complexity getting increased, and that itself is the opportunity for countries like India and states like Kerala. I mean, I mentioned about the volume gets doubled every 5 years, means you need talent. Of course, we talk about AI and all. Finally, when we design the product or when we make the products, he also mentioned, Mr. Goyal also mentioned about the quality aspects of the automotive. To make such a highest quality product, you need definitely highly talented human interventions, not just AI. So I think that's the great opportunity awaits for countries like India and states like that.
Just to put the perspective of what Jijimon is saying for my young friends who are there, my career started to bring software in the car. That's what we called as electronic control units. The second one is to bring internet in the car. That was the second era where we talked about connected. Now you're talking about the car in the internet. In the sense, what it means is that when you talk about car in the internet, it is about making everything software defined. What it means is that the entire physics of the car, the entire emotive part of the car is becoming more software defined. So just to give a data of what Jijimon mentioned, only 4% of the cars in the world today are software enabled. Okay, and you need to really look this very seriously, because it is not the element of creating those software talent or whatever it is. We have immense potential to impact this industry as a whole. We have immense potential to create the India signature, in the sense, can you really create product from India? And thirdly, as Jijimon mentioned, when you can launch a rocket to the moon, I don't think this is very difficult, right? And that's where the software-defined vehicle is one of the biggest element that could be there. So my next question to Venugopal is that, when you look at products designed in India, what are the key tenets that you expect from an engineer who is designing, so that, these products are accepted in the globe? Because you are quite a pioneer. It's not just about creating a service mindset, but, what is the mindset that you need where you design a product for the globe?
Sure. I can think of at least 3 or 4 very key mindsets which possibly all our universities should focus on, so that the students, when they come out, they're fully ready for the emerging automotive industry. So I have been collaborating with a few leading colleges here in Kerala. So we have been trying to introduce these kind of changes in the curriculum to make it happen. One is definitely the design mindset, where they are able to look at the end users and look at what they would need and what they would see value in. The second is something which is less talked about, but which you did allude to in a way, which is the exponential mindset. For example, if you look at computing power, the early 2000 also, you need a multi-storied building with a lot of very high performance computers. But today your smartphone has a lot more computing power than that. And you are able to afford it, and it's so compact you carry it around. So when technology is changing so fast, we should also think exponentially, not that kind of incremental linear things. We should learn to set non-linear goals. So we should not go with the assumptions that we have made in the past. We should boldly challenge some of the assumptions. Why should a battery have only 10 years of life? Why should a battery give you only 1 million kilometers? Maybe can I double it? Can I triple it? Can I make it 10 times? That kind of a exponential mindset is needed for all the engineers so that they challenge the assumptions and really break those barriers. The third is very important, which is a sustainable mindset. Because when you are getting into a new technology, we make sure that whatever we are building has a positive impact on the environment. So we are talking about building a circular economy around electric vehicles so that everything that goes into a vehicle can be recycled and reused. We have to bring very minimal new material into a new product. And a place like Kerala is very optimum for that because it's in the culture to do the things which are right for the environment. So this is going to be a big business opportunity in terms of recycling battery materials, motor materials, the magnets, the rare earths. All this is going to be a really big industry, and this is global in its nature. Sitting here, we can do this for global OEMs. That's an amazing opportunity out there. The last but not the least is the innovation mindset, which is we always think of Newton sitting under an apple tree and apple falling, he getting idea. That doesn't work in the real world. We need ideas on demand. So how can we look at what is already out there and use it to come up with something new and something better? There are a lot of very structured approaches that we use in the automotive industry to meet innovation on demand. I think all our students should get exposed to that so that it becomes natural to them to think innovatively. So I would summarize this as design, exponential, sustainable, and innovative. So it comes together as Desi. So we need to have a Desi mindset to really differentiate out there. Absolutely.
Fabulous,
Sure.
fabulous. Well said, Venugopal. So if we look at it, Jijimon, this is a question which I want to ask you. Many people say, most intelligent people in Kerala are outside Kerala. But when you and me were talking to a global OEM, you were in the list of top 3 where they wanted to partner with you, right? And this is a well known because he's been an entrepreneur, he's been a founder. So what is your employee value proposition? Why do you think people are staying in Kerala, delivering in Kerala, and still becoming? What is your employee value proposition?
Yeah, personally, I have got the opportunity to work with global companies like Hitachi and Mitsubishi in the past before starting Axia. But I, maybe like many Keralites, probably you might have met many people who work, especially in the VSSC, who start from there and probably dedicate their life for the entire life for the nation to build great products or great rockets. Uh, I'm not claiming that, but I had a passion of coming back and setting up something my own. I mean, venturing into the entrepreneurial journey. So that's the background of mine. But what I have seen is now when we started the company, of course, the learnings from the great companies have helped us to build something for world class. I mean, to build world class products from Kerala. But what I have seen at the moment is like what is really working out is when, I mean, every engineer, every young engineer really like to face challenging problems and they want to solve it. So this is what we see generally in the young engineers, and companies like us is able to provide that opportunity. And probably in the morning, our in the home, our CM and ministers and everyone talking about the God's own country with the highest quality of air and highest quality of water with the best connectivity in all the cities is also helping a lot, is what I believe. So the challenging opportunities and the collaboration and the learning opportunities and I think these are helping a lot at the moment, and to work for world's best brands. I think this is also highly inspiring for many young engineers. I mean, in our company, yes, of course, it is not a cautious decision, but 45% of people are women, employees are women, and I have seen, I mean, out of that, at least 20% are from I mean, in our Axia, 20% come from rural, and the opportunities they get to work for world's best companies, whether it is in India or abroad, is really exciting, and probably that is what actually exciting for them and helping them to stay.
Fabulous. So if we look at it, can this become a blueprint for companies like us, right? When we look at Accenture, because if you look at it, we always think we should go where the talent is. In the sense, we also look at, the biggest value proposition for Accenture is we have talent who are working ahead of the curve. In the sense, we always have talent who are much more, robust, not the tail end work, but the high end work. And it's very a proud moment that, 50% of Accenture is in India, like 300,000 people. But then what is the hesitation or any few things that you think, Venugopal, from a perception, why you think Kerala is not attracting, so much of talent that, we can really get? Because you get the best talent outside Kerala, but why not in Kerala? Maybe a very few thoughts about what is your perception?
So I think talent is definitely where we start with when we look for choice of a place to set up a new place. We look for engineering talent, but that is also shifting. In the past, when we are with IC vehicles, we are looking for mechanical engineering talent. But today we are looking for a talent where mechanical, electrical, electronics, basic programming skills, design skills, everything. So if Kerala can actually adapt this kind of newer requirements and change the curriculum and prepare industry-ready students, I think all the industry will flock to Kerala, because all the colleges, whichever city they are in, they are all stuck with that old curriculum. So the ease with which we can shift to the addressing the newer needs of the industry, whichever state does that, I think they'll be able to prepare the best students, and we need in very large quantity. When it comes to electric vehicle and software-defined vehicles, we need a very large number of engineers, and we find it very difficult to get these engineers. So whichever state is able to make these changes in curriculum and adapt newer methods of preparing the students, making them more hands-on, I think they will have an advantage. I think that's one opportunity for the state. Second is definitely ease of doing business. From what we heard in the morning, I think that has really improved a lot in recent times. So that should not be an issue anymore. But skilling is definitely going to be a key differentiator.
Correct. Maybe this question is for Sachin Goel, is that, when you look at one is what Jijimon and Venugopal talked about talent. If you were to set up a kind of a manufacturing facility, what are your perceptions about Kerala? How is it easy? What do you think, this ecosystem has to give for you?
See, I think, in my view, what we heard the Minister of Industry in the morning and the Honorable Chief Minister, the kind of reform which or the new policies, regulation has happened is really encouraging. For example, we're talking about this, the internet availability, water and electricity availability, the one-shop solution for all the approvals that within 7 days he was saying. So all these policy reforms are really encouraging. But at the same time, my views are that every place and every state has their own strengths and weaknesses. So for example, if one particular state has certain resources, because of that, there are a lot of, let's say, automotive manufacturing is there. So it's not necessary that every state has to get into this similar kind of revolution or industries. So for example, here, if you look at the education percentages, and always we heard about 100%, now a lot more technical institutes are there. So can we look at the other part of value stream, which can add value which is differentiated as compared to others? Right. For example, even I'll take example of Mahindra. There more hubs were, the manufacturing hubs were into the Maharashtrian belt, right? So Nasik and Mumbai and all that. But their R&D hub is in now Chennai. So depending upon, I think, which area any particular state or any individual can add more value, I think that approach would be more scientific and will be much more better.
Correct. So I'm going to ask something non-scripted question to the panel. So if Kerala was to take a moonshot, Digimon, this is to you, in the automotive, like, what could be the moonshot that you are going to take, in the sense, assuming that you want to put Kerala on the spot of the global world, especially in automotive, what is the moonshot that you're going to take?
So we heard from the ministers like what Kerala is able to offer in terms of the talent, in terms of even the industry. So I believe Kerala is actually a valley, probably you know. So Kerala can be the Silicon Valley of the automotive software is what I believe.
Fabulous. Any thoughts, Vince?
I will go back to the sustainability angle. I think a golden opportunity to make this whole electric mobility very circular in nature by making sure the design, the materials, manufacturing, all aspects are circular, and there's a global demand for that. So Kerala can become relevant globally if you are able to prioritize this. Sure.
I think apart from ESG, as Raghavendra mentioned that today the 4% value of the vehicles or cars are software connected. So if you look at fundamentally cars or any vehicle is same, right? You have 2 or 3 axle, you have 4 wheels, 6 wheels and the body. But if you see the car or any product get a lot of value addition in terms of what kind of features, what kind of software, and other customer-related things are there. So when I talk specific to Kerala, I think that those are the areas where one niche can be defined, and with the kind of young talent and the policies available, I think that kind of strong value addition can come where in every state who are pioneer in automotive manufacturing, they should actually force to come to Kerala and he say that for this kind of services or this kind of software or this kind of technology, we need to have take help from this thing. So I think that's one USP I would say, which can be kind of moonshot for Kerala.
If I can add one more quick point. So many people shift to electric because they want to have zero tailpipe emission and no pollution. But at the end of the day, if you're going to connect it for charging and the electricity comes by burning fossil fuels, then it's not the right thing to do. So people are definitely looking for clean energy and storage. These two go together. So if the state can prioritize clean energy over many other things, that is one area. The second area would be charging solutions, which makes it very easy for people to adapt to these things. These two are two big business opportunities by themselves, which the state can possibly prioritize. Sure.
Fabulous. So I think we are coming to an end of the session. What I would say is if there are any questions, one or two, if somebody can take it, and probably you want to use the mic.
My name is George. I'm a mold maker. I manufacture molds. Actually, I know Mr. Ajay Jain I'm based in Pune. So I manufacture molds for the automotive industry. I've been working with Tata Motors for the last 20 years. The one point which, I'm setting up a tool room in Pune because the best tool makers in the die and mold industry, the best tool makers come from Kerala. So none of you all ever mentioned, we have institutes like the NTTF, the KTTC, where the skilled manpower, the best toolmakers come from Kerala, but nobody works in Kerala. They go out. So rather than we have enough and more IT and software coming all over the country, rather than that, get the toolmakers back into Kerala.
Got it.
Where, like what Mr. Goel said, where location specific, so Kerala can be the Switzerland for tool making.
Fabulous.
Tool making involves less space, high skill, less manpower. The salaries are high. The risk of labor union and labor problem is not there. No, non-polluting.
Fabulous.
That's,
Next level. For example, you see the car body dies and all that.
Yeah.
Still, we all depend upon Korea and China.
Yeah, 80% of the molds are imported from China and Korea.
Those are in triple digits of crores.
Yeah.
So still we don't have that mature technology.
Yeah.
So when that basic skill is available, why can't we develop this technology
And
to next level?
And the manpower comes from Kerala.
And no matter which car you are making, whether any brand, you need those dies.
Yeah. In fact, I've
that's what I was
exported
mentioning.
dies for Mercedes, BMW, Porsche. and even Ferrari from Pune, with 90% of my team Malayalis, but in Pune. So why not instead of, I appreciate Mr. Jijimon's IT, this thing, software, but why not in the hardware?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hi, I'm Nitin S.J. Acharyaparabal. I am a senior editor with the Week magazine. The one thing I want to ask is for commercial automobiles, especially Mahindra, which has recently launched the electric vehicles. How do you bridge the gap between when you introduce a new technology of battery and OEMs and AI, and by the time the R&D, from the R&D to the release, there's a time period, and by the time you release the new vehicle, the technology has exponentially jumped, just like how you have said. So how do you bridge this gap, and what are the ways in which you are going to do that in the future? Because
So two ways in which we bridge this gap, because now it's just little more than a year to build. One is definitely what we already talked about, using AI to look at what data you already have rather than trying a lot of trial and error experimentation. Get some insights through your analytics and do very smart experimentation. That's the first part. Second part is something very important, which is the collaboration, industry academia collaboration, and collaborating with this innovative startups. Always have an eye on who's doing what, and then rather than trying to develop everything in-house, try to build a pipeline of technologies through these collaborations. It could be with engineering colleges, it could be with startups, where we have had a very good experience working with colleges here in Kerala, where there are very dedicated focus groups like robotics and batteries and EVs and stuff like that. Building such a pipeline helps us to quickly develop the small delta work that needs to be done to put it into a product. So we need to, if you develop 10 such technologies, maybe 2 will really go into a product, other 8 may not meet the requirements. So we need to build a pipeline and continuously work on bridging the gap that makes it enhance the performance of your product. So it's a continuous effort. So one is AI, the other is collaboration. With these two in place, I think you'll be able to manage the reduced time cycle. Sure.
thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen, for this wonderful session. My name is Nishad Azim. I'm based in Saudi and Qatar. I'm one of those Malayalis who do better outside Kerala. So my question is, we've been lately seeing a lot of Chinese cars entering the market, right? BYDs and Geelys, and we also see at the same time new cars coming out from India, but we don't see them outside of India. So my first question is, when will we start seeing these cars in India? And the second one is, we have manufacturing facilities in Qatar and Saudi, and we're also part of Indian Business and Professional Council, which comes under the Indian Embassy. One of our mandate is to bring companies and technologies from India to the GCC. So my next question, especially to Jijimon, is, would you be interested in transferring the technologies or learnings that you have from India or Kerala to have manufacturing facilities outside of Kerala? Thank you.
Sure. Maybe the first question I will handle, and second one he will take it up. In terms of new product development, the third dimension is to have a globally distributed team. Each team does what they are really good at. So design can happen somewhere, the engineering development will happen somewhere else, the manufacturing will happen somewhere else, and all this gets stitched together. That's where AI comes in stitching all these things together. That's the second part. And actually, a lot of these vehicles, they are globally first also, not that they're first only for India. So definitely, all the OEMs, not only Mahindra, every OEM has a global market in their radar, and they are making sure that they are meeting those regulatory requirements for various other regions also when they build this. The secret behind that is having a platform. In Mahindra's case, it's called the InGlo platform, India Global. Made in India, but for global markets. So that's called the InGlo platform. That allows you to come up with many variants, because the base technology, it's platformized. So it is very easy for you to come up with multiple variants when you do this. So that way it is possible to take a product to multiple markets and fine tune it to meet those regulatory needs and also those customers' needs specifically. That is happening. On the second part, I'll give it to Jujum.
Yeah. So the current model, especially in the software, what we do is like we make use of or utilize the talent available in Kerala to serve to the global customer. So, I mean, if the model we follow is like where the talent is, we set up there. So if the need is to cater to the GCC market, even we can do it. Since we are doing it for other global markets, Kerala, the talent sitting in Kerala can definitely cater to the GCC markets is for sure. But when we are talking about setting up the electronics or manufacturing, yes, based on the opportunities and closer to the ecosystems, definitely I am sure many companies will be interested to come to GCC countries. Yeah.
I agree. We have a plant in Ras Al Khaimah, which is serving to entire GCC market as well as now in Saudi Arabia as well. So when we launch any new vehicle, recently there are quite a few launches are lined up for special. I think there's some event is planned next year, right? Some sports events. Asian Games are planned. So the buses and all, we do the initial testing in that particular market itself. Earlier, what we were having is that we can do a limited testing in the India itself. But when we observe, then each geography country has a different operating condition. For example, Saudi Arabia market will be having a different kind of roads. The speed regulation requirement will be different, and the ambient temperature and the air conditioning requirement will be different. So now we do all those product testing in that respective country itself, and then, as you mentioned, that put the same product in the drawing board, correct those products, and then launch the product. That actually help a lot. And having a plant in Ras Al Khaimah help us to access that market very quickly.
Hello. Hello. Time for one more question?
Please, please.
Yeah,
quickly.
my name is Hari. I am from the rubber sector. So just now we heard about AI looking at the safety component of the vehicles. So in terms of tires that you use for the OE particularly, so this onus on safety, linked to AI, does it fall on the tire manufacturers or is it part of the OE lookout?
I can answer this question.
Yeah,
it
please.
depends on what kind of risk and reward you want to do. For example, we are working for a tire company where they want to provide algorithms to the electronic control unit. So they are saying that if there is going to be a safety issue, because today the problem is rests with an OEM. If the regulation changes, for example, it is Goodyear and you have Sightline, if you take those examples, right? So tire OEMs are also getting into this space where they want to provide algorithms because you are the first touch to the ground. But the problem is whether the OEM is ready to take that plunge. That's the regulatory perspective which has been there.
Thank you.
My name is Alex. I have a request for all the companies. As we are talking about talent, in India we are lack of talent. In China and other countries, from the school time itself, students are practicing different hands-on skills. In India, we are lacking that. If different companies are giving any opportunity for students to get from smaller ages that hands-on skills from the school itself, I think when they come to the degree, they will have better hands-on skills to acquire new technology skills.
First of all, India doesn't have a lack of talent. You can say lack of skill.
Yeah, lack of skill.
So talent is different, skill is different.
Skill is not there.
So nowadays, if you look at many technical colleges also, the amount, when I did engineering way back, maybe 3 decades back, at that time we used to have a summer break for, after 1 year, 1 month we used to go to industry. But now I think the colleges are spending substantial amount of time, students to visit the industry and get this hands-on skill. Even industries have a substantial amount of time when, for example, any GET, graduate engineer trainee or diploma engineer trainee joins Ashok Leyland. So 1 full year he's in the training period, where he got a chance to acquire different skills, work in different shops, at different functions, and acquire that skills. And nowadays, when these breaks happen, I think there's enough of opportunities where, as a student, if you want to take interest and you want to join the industry for that period of time, that can be done. But I agree with you, if that skill gap can be bridged, then I think the learning curve can be
Yeah,
sharper.
Mahendra already told they are tie-upping with some of engineering colleges. Like that, from the school time itself, some tools or kit is provided for this purpose, and something needed to be included in the curriculum. Then I think from the like screwdrivers, testers, and wiring type of things, if they are trained from the school days, when they are reaching up to the 10th standard, they are able to acquire the new technology.
Now, I have some ideas for you. Maybe after the session, I will talk to you. Okay? I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone. I hope we have had a very fruitful panel discussion session right now. Along with that, a very interactive question answer session. Now, as we conclude the session, before we conclude the session, as a token of appreciation and love, we would like to present mementos all to our dignitaries. First of all, I would like to invite our moderator, Mr. Raghavendra Kulkarni, to present the mementos to our panelist members. First, I would request our moderator to present the memento to Mr. Jijimon Chandran. Next up, we present the memento to Dr. Shankar Venugopal. And last, we present the memento to Mr. Sachin. Now, of course, we cannot forget our dear moderator, right? So let us present the memento to our dear moderator, Mr. Raghavendra Kulkarni, and invite Mr. Jijimon to please come forward. A huge thanks to all the gentlemen out here for a fulfilling session that we have had right now. Now, towards the end of the session, I request everyone to please be seated. Towards the end of the session, for the concluding remarks, I once again invite our moderator, Mr. Raghavendra Kulkarni, on the dais. So please.
So thanks a lot. I think it was quite exciting to see all of you engaged into the conversation. So 3 learnings from me as a moderator. Probably that could be the takeaway for you as well. One is bringing the human element in the car, which I mentioned about it. The second one is the Desi mindset, which Mr. Venugopal talked about. And third is the moonshots that Jijimon talked about. It's not about the Malayalis going out of Kerala, but a few Malayalis being in Kerala to make those moonshots. So wishing you all the very best. Let's make this automotive a great place for everyone to work in a sustainable world in the God's own country. Yeah? Thank you.